Hey guys, man, fuck me, dude. Fucking slave labor, man, is already kicking my ass, and I haven't even been here a week yet. I need, the lighting in here is fucking terrible, dude, you know? I mean, I'm fucking, I'm exhausted. Okay, let's see. Maybe that'll, whatever. Let me, comb my hair really fast. Hold on. Okay. Now, because I'm in a motel, I can't fucking smoke unless I go outside. It's fucking hot too, dude. It's fucking, well, I mean, it's not like, it's not as hot as where I came from. So it's kind of nice in that way. Like, it is hot though. It's a different kind of heat out here, man. It's like, well, a lot of humidity out here, which I personally, I don't know. It's nice because, anyways, I'm fucking exhausted, dude. When I'm doing, if I do videos, I'm gonna be exhausted. Hopefully the job doesn't continue like this brutal. And I've only been working half days. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. I've only been working half days, and I'm just like, I'm fucking exhausted, man. Let's see if that helps with the lighting. I'm trying to get the lighting right. Anyways, yeah, no, I've only been working half days, and I'm just, all I do is work and fucking eat and sleep and shit and work. That's fucking ridiculous, man. I got bites all over me too. Anyhow, oh, fuck. Yeah, dude. Oh my God. All right. So I got a request from a quality subscriber, because this channel is about quality subscribers, not quantity. See, if you're trying to turn your YouTube channel into a business that generates money, then you're gonna go for, you need a lot of subscribers in order to make money off of your channel. And one of the core principles of the Angry Hobo chosen is money is I don't accept money. I have never put a link, a buy me a coffee link or anything. I've been running a channel for approximately 8 years, averaging approximately at least 2 videos a week, and that's being generously conservative in that estimate. I've never received any money, and I stand by my my claim that if somebody can figure out how to get even a single fucking red penny into my hand through this channel, I'll give you a crisp $100 bill, guaranteed. And I'm a man of my word, as the Joker says. I'm a man of my word. So, you know, the only exception is you can't go through Gypsy Fox. You know, that's anyways. All right, so I got a request, a quality request, to do a video on on what happened to me with my ex-girlfriend. Okay. And I'm happy to do it because first of all, I like to talk. I like to talk about experiences I've had. And I also think that what happened to me is a very important story that not only I myself could learn from, but other people could learn from. And by hearing my testimony on what happened to me, someone else could avoid that happening to them. Okay. So in my playlist is, I think the entire playlist is me trying to storyboard this event that happened to me with my ex. Okay. And there's a lot of videos. And the reason I call it storyboard is just like in an investigation, like if a person is trying to direct a documentary or a movie, they're going to have a storyboard, and it's going to be like as big as this whole fucking thing, and it's going to be plastered from floor to ceiling with post-it notes, all kinds of shit. Or in an investigation, like if you ever watch, investigation shows, and they have the big map where they're trying to map the serial killer, and they've got a red pin on the map in, like, let's say Missouri, Illinois, or whatever, and then they have some red yarn tied from that pin to another location hundreds of miles from there, and you might have like 20 of them because the serial killer is going all over the map killing people. That's what a storyboard is. And then you'll have photographs of this person and these people, and here's photographs of the victims and shit. So this event that happened to me with my ex-girlfriend is a big story. And so that's why my channel was called Storyboard, but I changed the name of it. But it's a storyboard. And I had to kind of break it into three main parts, which is the event, the pre-event, and the post-event, okay? So there's the event that happened, but then there's everything that led up to the event. And then there everything that happened after the event. And it's an epic, okay? And I'm going to give you an example of an epic. And this is not to talk shit or anything, okay, to the person that made the request. For me to do a video on what happened with me and my girlfriend would be like me trying to do a video explaining the entire Twin Peaks series from A to Z. The entire Twin Peaks. If you're not familiar with Twin Peaks, I would recommend it. If you have free time, this is a great, this is a great storytelling. And it's very bizarre. Okay? And there's a lot of details. And all these details are all connected to the entire story of Twin Peaks. And if you're not familiar with Twin Peaks, you're going to kind of not really understand exactly, have a full understanding of why I'm referencing Twin Peaks. But if you are familiar with Twin Peaks and you've watched the whole series, then see, because what happened to me with my ex-girlfriend is as bizarre as this story, okay? Now, this was created by David Lynch, okay? I don't want this to turn into a commercial for this, okay? But I'm just trying to use this because if you are familiar with Twin Peaks, then it will help you understand the story and how difficult it would be to summarize a story like Twin Peaks in a video. I mean, and the other thing I would like to mention before I try to go into this story is, dude, after what happened, I mean, I've seen a lot of crazy shit in my life. And I have a feeling most of us have. Okay, many of us have. And especially like people that are, for whatever reason, they're more aware of just everything that's going on, you know? The more awareness a person has of just everyday life in this society, the more aware a person is, the more bizarre everything is. Like you see, if like you, for example, the viewer, if you're pretty aware of everything that's going on or around you and in society and in the media, you've seen some crazy shit, okay? You've probably seen some crazy shit, okay? So if you've seen a lot of crazy shit in your life and you were to watch the Twin Peaks series, you would be probably mostly convinced that this is based on a true story. Even though this is totally insane, dude. But but we see this a lot. You know, They Live is a pretty good example, right? Like, and in a lot of ways, this is a better example because, well, I can't go into it. But anyways, so in my own defense, for me to explain what happened with me and my ex would be like trying to explain the story Twin Peaks. And if you were to imagine the amount of work it took to create like a story like this, I'm telling you, it would require a storyboard, at least one storyboard as big as this entire fucking wall, with Post-it notes, other notes, photographs, maps, with red yarn, with red string and pins and this whole thing would be fucking packed all around. And I'm sure it would take up this entire fucking room. I mean, this is complex shit. And so it's been very difficult for me just to process what happened with me and my girlfriend, ex-girlfriend. Let alone like explain it. It's crazy, dude. Like, if I were to tell you what happened and tell you that this is all true, you would think I'm crazy. That would be like me telling you that this shit in this thing happened to me and I was there and this is all true. But as I said before, if you're pretty aware of everything that's been going on in your life for the majority of your life, and you've been pretty aware and haven't let them put you to sleep, you would not be surprised if this was based on a true story. You know, so that's why that playlist is packed with videos, and I haven't even, dude, like, it's so much work that I've stopped, you know. I had to stop. It's so much work. So as I said, I broke the playlist up. I mean, the playlist is probably 7 or 8 playlists. And if I'm correct, every single playlist is in reference to the story of what happened with me and my ex-girlfriend. So But to keep it simple, it's based in the three, shall we say, what do they say in theatrical terms, in filmmaking terms? Three acts, the three acts. Okay, so if I were to do a documentary on this story about me and my ex, it would be in three basic acts, and the order, I'm not sure if I were to do like a movie, this would make a great movie or series. I'm not even kidding you, bro. I'm not fucking kidding you. It would make a great fucking series that people would enjoy if it were done right. You know, like if I wrote it all up and I sent it to, and I were able to solicit it to David Lynch, and dude, first of all, I think if David Lynch actually looked at my story, he would probably do it. He would probably, somebody like that would, if they knew my story, they would probably do it. And I would just give him the rights. I wouldn't want a red cent. I wouldn't even want any recognition. I would donate it to him. Like if this was my completed storyboard and I could solicit it to someone like David Lynch, I would say, here, bro, check this out. And then I would ghost. I wouldn't want any money, no recognition. I wouldn't even care if he said it was based on a true story or not, because it doesn't even matter if it's based on a true story. It's the story that matters. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy. That's why I think that Twin Peaks is based in real shit. This really fucking happened. Especially after what I've seen in my life. Like, even before this happened to me with my ex, I wouldn't be surprised at all if this is based in a true story. But since that shit happened with my ex, like, I'm like almost completely convinced that this is based on a true story. Because there's so many similarities to Twin Peaks series, the series, not the movie. I've never even seen the movie. I'm talking about the series. It is so fucking, like, there's so many similarities with what happened to me and what's in this that it's uncanny, dude. It's like, there's no way. There's no way. So if I were to be able to put this in a format to where I could solicit it to someone like David Lynch and they were to do a fucking thing on it, it would be a blockbuster, bro. It would be like, what the fuck? Like, people would be tripping the fuck out, dude. I'm not even kidding you, dude. So, okay. So now we're 20 minutes in. I'm just trying to explain this, okay? Anyway, so yeah, it would be the pre-event, the event, and the post-event. Now, in which order, I don't know. So when somebody asks me, well, can you tell me the story? Tell me, it's like, okay, because you got the pre-event, the event itself, and then the post-event. And none of it makes sense. It doesn't make sense unless you know the whole thing, unless you get all three acts. So when somebody asked me to say what if I could do, a video talking about what happened, so that would be like me talking about the event, okay? So that would be like me just going into one of the three acts. It's like, okay, here's the event. And the event is insane. But the pre-event is what makes it even more like, it's like, what the fuck? And the pre-event, all the shit that happens in the pre-event corroborates and is what corroborates and solidifies all of the unbelievable shit that happened in the event. So if I tell you the event, all of this unbelievable stuff where you're like, no, there's no way. It's the pre-event shit that corroborates it and gives it its base, where it's like, once you know the pre-event shit, then when the event, you're like, oh my God, right? And same with the post-event. The post-event probably just as much corroborates everything as the pre-event, okay? So when I tell you the event it's so unbelievable that people are not going to believe. They're going to be like, this guy's full of shit. He's a conspiracy theorist. This is a lie, you know. This is all lies, you know. But it's the pre-event that is like, look, you think I'm lying? Look at all this shit that happened that led up to the event. Now, all the stuff that happened in the pre-event doesn't really make sense. I mean, see, it's hard to explain. So, like, when all the stuff that happened to me in the pre-event happened, I didn't connect the dots. I mean, it was weird stuff, but it didn't really have any context until the event happened. Once the event happened, then all that stuff 3 years prior all made sense. It's like, holy shit, dude, right? And so then it makes the event like, oh my God, like this is totally real, okay? And then the post-event, everything that happens after the event is just more corroboration, more circumstantial evidence, to the point where you have this massive mountain of practically undeniable circumstantial evidence. Like there's so much circumstantial evidence that you would look like a fool to deny the story itself in its entirety. Like if it went before a courtroom, a real courtroom, fucking heads would fucking roll, bro. Like it would be so anyway, so somebody asked me to do a video on what happened to me. And like I said, I'd be glad to. And this is like a precursor to that video, because as you can see, it's already 22 minutes long. But this is to kind of prepare you for, because you're not going to believe. You're not going to believe it. You're not going to believe it. Which is why, like this, okay, if something really wacky and crazy and unbelievable happened, and someone were to try to document it and put it out to the people, okay? There are things that are so fucking crazy that go on in the world where you would be better off to just present it as a science fiction rather than try to tell people this really happened. Even though it did really happen, and you're building a fucking whole storyboard on this true event. There are fucking events that take place that are so completely unbelievable that the only way you would even get an audience is as if you were to present it in a fiction. Like, here's this fictional story. Why don't you check it out and tell me what you think? Because if it's presented in a fictional story, then people can suspend their belief and they'll watch it and then they'll be like, well, and then it's like, okay, so it's like, here's this fictional story. This is fiction. This didn't happen, you guys. It's only fiction. But I want you to watch it and then I want you to tell me what you think. Because if I were to say this really happened and I want you to watch it, and you watched it, you'd come back and say, dude, this is just some fucking National Enquirer tabloid garbage. This didn't really happen. Fuck you, right? They wouldn't believe it. Whereas if I presented it as just a fictional story, hey guys, this is just a fictional story. It didn't really happen, but I want you guys to watch it and see what you think. See, then they'll suspend their belief. And then they'll watch it and they think it's a fiction story. And then when they're done watching it, right? Then the director will be like, okay, guys, tell me what you think. And then they would tell them, they'd be like, oh my God, this story was so crazy. Like, what the fuck, right? And they would really see, because they're not being told that you must believe this. The audience isn't being told that this really happened and you should believe me. There's crazy shit that's going on to where if you tried to tell somebody it really happened, even though it did, you would lose them. You would never get to hear what they think about the story because you told them it really happened, and that already set the precedent. So if you tell them it really happened, it sets the precedent where they have expectations. And so when this story, this totally like insane story that blurs the lines of reality, well, you're already you are not meeting their expectations, because everything must meet the criteria and the constructs and the conventions of reality, you know. And what's more important than convincing people of what happened, okay? What's more important to me is, what do you think about this story? I want to know what people think. I don't care if they believe that my story is true or not. What I want to know is, if this story is presented to them, what would their thoughts be? Because in my opinion, their thoughts of that story would be exactly what I experienced. They would be like, holy shit, if that happened, you know, then it's obvious that this is what's going on in that, because this is a big mystery. So anyway, and the end is like a cliffhanger. The end is a cliffhanger in a sense that there is no closure. There is no closure to this, what happened to me. And it's very similar. Like by the end of this, there's no closure, and you're left to wonder. For example, by the end of the Twin Peaks, there is no closure. You'll have all these different phases of the story where it feels like there's closure, and it's like you're anticipating closure, and then at the end of the story, it just leaves you hanging with more questions than answers. And so then you start thinking, whoa, what could this possibly, I wonder, what is it? You know, what the fuck happened? What is it? And that's what's going on with my story, is because by the end of the story, there's no closure. It leaves it up to the audience to decide for themselves, what do they think happened? And that's why I'm saying it's less important to me to convince any audience that what happened to me is a true story. That is far less important to me than like, what does the audience think? You see what I'm trying to say? I'm gonna wrap this up. Because if the audience is presented that it's a true story, then at the end, they're going to think, well, this is all bullshit. And that's not what I don't want. That's why it would be better for it to be presented in a fictional format, because the point isn't to convince people whether or not what my story happened is true or not. The point is to get feedback. Is to like, okay, now that the story's done, what do you think? Because it doesn't have closure. It, like many stories, that by the end of the story there is no closure, and it leaves it up to the audience or the reader or the observer to decide for themselves, what do they think about this whole story, right? And so anyways, so that's what's crazy about me. One of the crazy things about me telling the story about my ex. And it does involve weird shit, like woo-woo shit, like demon possession, dark entities, black magic, witchcraft, along with a host of all kinds of other stuff. Like, it is not a story about witchcraft per se, or a story about Satanism per se, because there's so much. It is so fucking vast. It is hours of shit, dude. But there are fucking deep elements of demon possession, witchcraft, it blurs the lines of reality. So it's going to challenge a person's understanding of reality as it exists, like the conventional like bounds of reality. It goes out. It starts to go outside of that, like that picture of that guy where there's the veil, and you see the guy's like peeking through the veil, and all he's doing is getting a glimpse. There's still reality, but then there's the veil, and there's the unseen beyond. And this story goes heavily into the unseen, and also it's a big story, dude. It's super crazy. So this is 30 minutes. So I'll get to the video of like what happened. So this is just kind of like a quick overview, a 30-minute. But this is kind of necessary if I am to try to talk about what happened. So I apologize that, that's the way it is, I guess.